Hello everyone, welcome to our show Beyond the Lectures. Today we have with us our very own Suresh Paul Antony or SPA sir. Hello sir.
Good evening.
Good evening sir. Sir, this is basically the first instance of our channel, of our show Beyond the Lectures, and we are really grateful to have you on our show.
It's my honor as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, everyone, like we did some survey on how people saw marketing, how people had a perception, what people thought of marketing before coming here. So one thing we always had in mind, how did you get into marketing? How did you get into this profession?
Okay, so that's two questions.
Yeah.
How did I choose marketing? Okay, that's a little difficult question in the sense that in my time, professional managers in industry was very less. I mean, it had still not picked up. Okay, there were very few MBAs, and to me, maybe because of my nature of being an extrovert, in some sense, not really an extrovert, but neither am I an introvert. So maybe it helped me to connect with people. So there were two things that I was dabbling in. One was, in those days, we used to call that as personnel management. Okay, personnel, personnel, personnel management, which today is human resources management. Earlier it used to be industrial relations and labor welfare. So that was also something to do with people, right? So these were two subject areas that was closest to my heart. In fact, my internship I did in HRM. I did in HRM in a company called Fenner India. It was a multinational, UK-based multinational at that time. So, so therefore, anything to do with people especially, I think was my interest. And then marketing was probably more in the news, maybe more glamorous. I don't know. I was a young kid at that time, 22 years old. So maybe that's the reason I got attracted to marketing. Also, maybe that the opportunities in HRM were, from the kind of school from which I passed out from, maybe they were very few. We didn't have too many of them. So a bunch of these reasons drove me into marketing. Yeah. So that is how I came into marketing and sales, and over 14 years have had varied exposures in different organizations. Right from tires to automobiles and then to financial services, and then on to direct selling of books, and finally to retailing of music. So I've seen about 5-6 industries in 14 years, which gave me a ringside view into different aspects of our economy and marketing, and each of them were very different. Some of my students and friends used to ask me, how did you manage it, or what was the motivation in moving from one industry to another? One thing, Maharishi, I was very clear about, that I would never work for my competitor.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a very clear motivation that I had, and somehow I managed to, to adhere to my own philosophy. Okay, and almost right from my Seat tire days, I've indulged in some kind of training. Okay, in Seat we used to have mentors for sales trainees. Anybody who comes into an organization, he'll be assigned a mentor. So any trainee who comes into the organization, I'll have to kind of take him under my wings and he has to spend 2 months with me. Okay, so there is one component of office training and another field training. So a 2-month training had to be under my mentorship. That I didn't volunteer, I was identified. Okay, so that was the starting point.
That is how you
So the training bug hit me early on, hit me very early on. And I decided at one stage in my life that I need to get in there, and my family kind of encouraged me into that role, and that's how I ended up, being a teacher.
We are really lucky to have you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, as you told, you were in the training sector. You train people who were new to sales, new to marketing. So, when we were also introduced to marketing, we had this similar doubt in our mind. For you, what is the basic difference? It's really silly, but for you, what is the basic difference between sales and marketing?
Sales and marketing, the difference is selling is a component of marketing.
Okay.
Like if you go back to what Trucker says, marketing's job is to make the customer ready to buy. And then selling becomes so superfluous. He's just ready, he's just waiting for you to make the product available. So selling is actually one component. It's a component of marketing. And they are very different. It is as wide as the difference is as wide as the Ganges. Absolutely. But for the layman, there is this feeling that selling is synonymous with marketing. It is not. It is not. Because all that they see is that selling, and selling has earned a bad name because of many of the fly-by-night operators, the snake oil salesmen of the world, who have brought in a lot of disrepute to the profession. But then, those of us who understood marketing know that selling is about communication. If you go back to the 4 P's and the 4 C's, which we have discussed earlier, right? So it relates to the promotion. Actually, personal selling is to do with promotion, which is the equivalent of communicating to the customer. So it has to fit into the larger picture. And many a time, the role of the salesman is either, or sometimes both, demand generation and order fulfillment. So that clarity we need to have. But unfortunately, many of those in sales don't have that clarity. They don't know how their role fits into the larger picture, right? And do it discreetly, disparate with the rest of what marketing strategy is all about. So that is where the disconnect, happens. Let's be very clear. Selling is about ensuring, that you're communicating the value to your customer, whereas marketing is about planning, organizing, directing, controlling the entire marketing effort, of which selling is only one component. I don't know whether I've been able to.
Yeah. It's pretty clear now. It's pretty clear. Like on a similar note, while selling a product, you have to kind of prepare set the stage for the customer.
Correct.
That's right. On a similar note, when we start our class, you set the stage for our class. We also have videos of snippets of the start of our class, how it starts, the spa list, as we say it.
I see.
So what was the intent behind it, and when you started, and how did that begin?
I think it was there before. I always loved music, and I had my own personal collection of what I would love to listen to. But I think I was a little diffident about sharing it with others. Let me be very honest. In the sense, especially with your generation, I was not very sure whether my taste would kind of gel with yours. So that anxiety is always there, and therefore you keep it private, right? You don't want to tell it to others. But even before the pandemic, I used to run this, music now and then. But after the pandemic, especially during the pandemic, we had totally online, isn't it, at that time? Very tough time it was, 2020, academic year 2020 onward. Because many a time the students' videos were off, their audios were off, and internet connectivity was poor at our end, at your end, at the students' end. Many of them didn't have privacy to sit and, attend the class in total, In some cases, we could see in the same room there are 2-3 others sitting and attending whatever, maybe an office or a class, right? It was a very tough time for them. For us also, that it was almost like, staring at a blank wall. Like in the school there used to be a punishment, face the wall. Face the wall was a punishment, right? So it was like facing the wall. So I thought we need to, relax a little, let down our hair, and be a little more open. And I thought music would actually put me at ease. So that is how I started playing. And then the initial feedback was that, oh, we love it. Okay, so then it became a habit. So before every class, I would run this, music, and some of them reported that they came 5 minutes earlier or 10 minutes earlier just to listen to the music. Then I have made it into a habit that whether it is online or offline, I run music at least for 5 minutes before the class starts. And I have curated, I have made a list, set 1, set 2, set 3, so that I don't repeat the same, same music again all over again. To your batch, once you listen to one, the next time it will be something different. Yeah.
So before 2019, if we were in IIM Trichy, we won't be listening to.
Probably not. Yeah. Probably not.
Sir, and there is a special request from viewers also that they would like to have a copy of the spa list.
Oh, why not? Why not? No problem. It's not mine. It belongs to so many other artists who have actually given us a wonderful music. And the more who listen to it, the greater the pleasure out of it, isn't it?
Definitely, sir. Like we have seen people jamming to it, we have seen people dancing to it before.
Really,
that creates the environment there.
I'm really surprised because much of it, if you have noticed, is not of the current contemporary.
Definitely,
it's all a little oldish heritage legacy, but still I'm surprised. I'm surprised at the excitement it has brought in with your batch, especially. Sometimes it works, you have a special connection with some batches, and I think I've had that luxury or that blessing. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, we are talking about music and advertisement. Something that comes to my mind is the old advertisements. They always had this catchy jingles that keeps repeating in the back of our head again. That is always there. Considering your expertise in the field of marketing, you have seen a lot of those, and you would have analyzed a lot of those in your times. Sir, do you have something in the back of your mind that reminds you that, and maybe something that could be revisited, that could be revived to create a buzz in today's world?
Yeah, thank you, Maharishi. Music is close to my heart, and I wouldn't want to call myself an expert in marketing because I'm a learner still. And there is one advertisement that is very close to my heart for several reasons. That is a Nescafe ad.
Okay.
It starts off. Nescafe. I need to get started, and I'll be on my way.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it happen, and this will be my day. That's how the lyrics goes on. So there they talk. It pictures that lady, walking and with a coffee in her hand, and the jingle was so popular. And there's another reason why I'm looking at this ad very closely. It demonstrates to us the concept of closure. Okay, so you know that advertising on mass media, on television, is very expensive. So over a period of time, you add it on the TV channel, and then you can withdraw it and run it on a radio. Okay, and once the advertisement is there in our mind, you retain it. You only listen to the jingle, but the exactly, you got it. It plays in your mind. So that is this concept of a closure, and I have seen that this has worked in several audiences. The moment you start off this, they complete. Yes, and they complete the rest. They complete the rest. So it just demonstrates to us how powerful this advertising campaign was. So that is one. And this was the time when this marriage of Bollywood music and advertising started.
Okay.
So there's a lot of this music that crept into our advertising because it was catchy, it caught your attention, and the jingle was a very, very very powerful way to reach your heart. Okay, the products made their way through using the music. Maybe in India, music has a great role, probably all over the world. Why should we say only in India? Similarly, the Lifebuoy ad.
Okay.
And that ad, I think it started when we didn't have TV. It was in the radio's times. Okay, this ad, the jingle continued. I don't know whether it still continues. You can check that up. How does it go? The Lifebuoy ad.
Okay, that increasing pitch, right?
What a jingle! I tell you, it brings a lot of nostalgic memories, And that jingle has been around for a very long time. If my memory serves me right, it was there even before I've seen TV.
Okay.
Okay, so right from that radio times, I think this jingle has been around. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I have seen is like in the recent ads, what they have used is they have used that ascending last part of it. So that creates the kids a lot of, like, people are able to connect directly to that.
And that soap brings a lot of nostalgic memories, probably because it was the first soap that was, available in the organized sector for an Indian and at an affordable price. All radio. All of this was done on radio, and only later you had television which mirrored this. So you can just imagine the challenge that marketers had before television was there. Yeah.
Just this.
And I think they used music as a great tool to convey the message.
And I think they still make sense, still the power of music, what it can, like how it can impact the ads, how it can impact the audience, that also matters, right? How it can impact the energy of the advertisement itself.
Very true, very true.
True,
that I remember this,
until now.
until now itself, I think is a testimony.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Maharshi, what is the title of our program?
Beyond the lectures, yeah.
Beyond the lectures, and we are still sitting here in a kind of a lecture simulated situation. Why don't we go out?
Sure, sir. Would love to. Let's take a walk, sir. Sure.
Let's take a walk. You see now, Maharshi, we have unboxed the Beyond the Lecture and taken it out of the, I think, room. It sounds better. It looks better here, isn't it?
Definitely,
Smells
sir.
nice campus we have here.
Sir, definitely, sir. It's now just beyond the lectures, as we tell it. Sir, I would like to continue. That's the same. Continue the question on the same line. Sir, we were talking about how you teach people, how we as marketing enthusiasts should learn marketing. But now the problem arises that the kind of work or the kind of effort that this huge world of marketing needs, and this fast-paced MBA life, this is something. This seems like two different worlds. So what do you suggest our viewers, the students, to how they can cope up with it? So we would like to know more about it.
So is your question about, I'm able to understand but I'm not able to get grades?
Okay.
Oh, this is a perennial problem. If some student says, I understand but I'm not getting grades, I'm able to understand, why we are doing this and so on, but my grades don't reflect my understanding.
Yes, sir.
Then I think the problem is more with the faculty than with the student, in the sense that the kind of exam, the questions that we have are not testing your understanding. Yeah. So don't worry about that. If you are able to understand the why, why we are, let's say, discussing marketing mix.
Okay.
Where did it come from? And in which situation you would want to change the mix and why. If you know that, I think you just need to stay the course and continue with whatever you're doing. So don't worry about, the short-term losses or failures, in terms that, I didn't get grades. You should remain focused on understanding. Keep asking those important why questions all the time. And if possible, take notes, maintain a learning diary over your 2 years here. Every case, every discussion would have a generic learning, which is beyond the context, which is the case. Okay, there would be definitely a generic learning. So what are those learnings? If you can note down, write them down, reflect on them, right? It's going to stay you in good stead once you start your career. Okay, so that's my advice to you. I wouldn't say advice, a suggestion that don't worry about grades and worry about your understanding. If you have understood a concept very well, I think you have succeeded. You should congratulate yourself that you have done a good job. Yeah, all of these things will matter only in the short run. And remember that life is a marathon race. So this 100-meter dash doesn't matter. And you will forget your grades after a while. Maybe only the first initial years you will remember, okay, I didn't get a grade, I didn't get a rank, whatever. Whatever are those milestones which others think are very important. Once you reach another major milestone, achieve it, you will forget all the ones that you missed. Okay. I hope I have answered your question.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And sir, through our very show Beyond the Lectures, we plan to do exactly this thing. We plan to dig deeper on that exact curated list that you are talking about.
Okay.
And we plan to invite people who are,
Good.
if as you said, you are not experts but you are learners.
Yeah.
So we would like to learn from their experience. We'll sir really love to have you back to explain our viewers though more about those curated lists, more about marketing as a whole. Sir, it was really nice to have you on our show.
Right.
We hope to see you again.
Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. I think your generation is in a very exciting phase when MBAs are being more accepted in industry and marketing's role is also getting very important. Unlike about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where many companies were operating in near monopoly or oligopoly situations. Okay, so therefore you have a great opportunity in making marketing work for companies and for the nation. And I wish that all of you do well. And I would love to get updates. And I congratulate you on this effort to make marketing go beyond the classroom and make it live. Okay, and it's a good idea to bring in people from industry and academia to talk about marketing topics beyond the lecture. Great idea, and I wish you the very best in your endeavor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Hope you guys liked our first episode.
Do comment on which part of the video you like the most.
Let us know what questions you have in your mind for the next video to shoot.
Until then, subscribe and stay tuned to